If you're a hay fever sufferer, maybe you look at that sunshine and think, oh, yes, it looks glorious, but I will suffer. If you are a sufferer, you may want to get your remedies at the ready, because the Met Office is warning of a very high pollen count across the UK in the coming days.
Yeah, and people with asthma, other respiratory conditions, it can be more than just a runny nose. Joined by Dr. Costa, who's a Pediatric Allergy doctor. Morning to you.
Morning.
For people who don't have hay fever, it's sometimes hard to understand. It's really debilitating, isn't it?
Extremely debilitating, because it affects so much your quality of life, mainly with people not being able to sleep very often, but also for the ones that have eye problems, sometimes they cannot even get out. Children cannot study because they aren't able to read. They miss school. The parents will miss work. So it's quite. It influences the entire family, for one person only.
Have you had hay fever?
Yes, I had.
Had?
I had. So when I was very young, I had significant hay fever. I remember going from home to my high school, non-stop sneezing. My eyes would swell up, and then I decided to have treatment, and the treatment took my symptoms away completely.
Well, as a hay fever sufferer, and I know many, they're going to be intrigued as to what that was and if it's commonplace.
So it should be more common than what it is, because sadly, we have around 15 million hay fever sufferers in the country. And we only have about nearly 3,000 being treated, according to something called the BRIT registry. So it is something simple, straightforward, which is a medication under your tongue that you spray twice for 3 years, and then for decades on end, your symptoms go away.
Can you, I mean, OK, we're all on a learning curve here. If it is so effective as you say, why don't more people get offered it? Is it expensive? Is it what's the problem here?
I think that a lot of it is about a mentality. So I think that cost-wise, the annual cost for immunotherapy is not that great, but people think about on the immediate cost and not the long-term savings that they have. So immunotherapy will cost around £1,500 per year for 3 years. So actually it's not that costly.
Well, 4,500 is a lot
yes.
of money.
I know it is, and that is why also a lot of people will prefer to do it. Others won't, of course, and especially nowadays with the cost of living crisis, a lot of people won't be able to do it. But for the NHS, if you consider how much they would save, it would be worth it.
You very kindly said happy to take some questions, and obviously people have been in touch this morning. I think we're going to take a question. This from Maggie, email us, say her husband gets sleepy with certain over-the-counter hay fever medications, including some that are supposed to be non-drowsy.
Yes.
Any recommendations? And I appreciate it's not necessarily easy to do this sort of not knowing the case itself.
Actually, it's a matter of trying, because there are several non-sedating antihistamines. So it's a matter of trialing which one works, because some of them, because each one of us will act differently to an antihistamine. So choose the one that is non-drowsy, and what we call normally a second generation antihistamine.
But she says that including the ones that are supposed to be non-drowsy.
So but the problem is very often there's a long variety of antihistamines. It's a matter of choosing which ones they are, and some of them probably they need only a prescription from a doctor.
Right, OK. Maya in Stratford has said she can't take her normal prescription medicines because she's pregnant. So if you are pregnant, doesn't mean your hay fever goes away, does it? And it's doubly debilitating.
It is. The problem about antihistamines is, although there is no specific research saying that they can lead to cancer, all the manufacturers saying pregnancy is a condition in which they cannot have it. Anyway, so what happens then is there's a lot of things that they can do to prevent the symptoms. So you have Vaseline that they can put on their nose to prevent pollen from going inside. There's actually nose filters that can be used. There is going outside when the pollen count is high, shades that are very large, so it prevents the direct contact. But also at home, there is window filters, and more you can buy them, so you can aerate your place anyway. You prevent the pollen from going inside. So there's a few things that can be done.
Nose filter.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what that looks like.
It's a very interesting device. It's not very comfortable because I've tried them before. So actually you put them there, and actually it's like a kind of a berry on your nostril.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
When you're walking around, you can see if someone's... Right, OK.
So that is why a lot of people also decide not to use it, because probably it's not, aesthetically, it's not very nice.
A question here from Liam, who's in Manchester, got in touch on WhatsApp asking, why is his hay fever so much worse at night?
Interesting one. Thing is, normally, if you're talking about hay fever, very likely you're talking about the warm weather. You open your windows, pollen is going to come out. So where is it going to deposit? In your bed. At night time, after suffering the entire day with hay fever, so you've already been accumulating all that, suddenly you go to bed and you have that pollen there just waiting for you. You lie down.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. When the time at which in life at which people get hay fever, it can kick in almost at any point. Is that right?
It is. Normally, the average is 3 to 4 years old is when the symptoms of hay fever start. But if you're going to see over the last few years, especially because it's been quite dry and the pollen count has been very high, you have more people that never thought that they had hay fever or had very mild hay fever, that suddenly they start having quite severe symptoms because the pollen exposure has been much, much higher than normal. So then suddenly it just picks up and they start suffering a lot.
And once you have it, can it go?
If you do immunotherapy.
Ah, right. Okay. Okay. It's been really interesting talking to you. Thank you so
You're very
much.
welcome.
And shower before bed if you have hay fever to get rid of the...
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And use HEPA filters. That is very important to not only fans with HEPA filters because it will remove the pollen from the air, but vacuum cleaners with HEPA filters because it will remove all the pollen that is lying around.
Jose, thank you very much. Dr. Jose Costa, thank you.
Thank you so much.